If you're watching this at the video's release date, then rejoice, my fellow F1 fans. The launch season is here, and in about 2 weeks, cars are on track again for the Barcelona preseason test, which, yeah, is behind closed doors, but the F1 is back. That's all that matters. Red Bull have just unveiled their car, and it's safe to say we are so back. So I thought, since we're in this era now, let us rank the 2026 driver lineups. Now, this is F1. With the exclusion of one driver, everyone here has got some serious talent and skill, so I'm not ranking by how skillful each driver is. Instead, I'm ranking how good the lineup is itself, which means just because two drivers aren't like world champion material doesn't mean the lineup is bad. As long as both can be consistent point scorers and not crash into each other, it's a good lineup, I say. Specifically, I'm going to look at 4 things: the experience of the drivers, raceability of the drivers, so how good they are racing wheel to wheel, the pace of the drivers, and adaptability of the drivers, so how good they are when strategy changes or conditions, things like that. As long as both drivers have a good balance of these things, then the higher that lineup will be. So I think that's pretty clear. Let's whip out the old tier list, let's say from D to S tier, and get to ranking. Go join the Discord to crank your hog, and subscribe if you're new if you're a duck trapped in a human's body. So enough yapping, and let's get to quacking.
A good weather for a race, but especially for a duck.
Let's go in constructor's orders, and starting with Cadillac, and this one is already tough to call. Let's get one thing out the way. These guys are very old. Both are in their mid to late 30s, which means they will not stick around for long. These guys were hired not because Caddy want them to go out and win titles and races. They were hired because they just want to set a base first. Checo and Bottas have been here since 2011 and 2013 respectively, and in that time, both have raced for championship winning teams. They have boatloads of experience in how a team should operate, and once Caddy reach a point where they know F1 like it's the palm of their hand, then they will be dropped in favor of fast, younger talent. So when it comes to longevity and perhaps outright pace, since both drivers are past their prime, don't expect much here. However, when it comes to their raceability, I have no doubt the drivers will still be good in this department. This is really where the bulk of their strong results will have to come from, since where they lack in pace today, they still got the sauce to race wheel to wheel, no doubt about it. While Checo does have his moments here and there, he is a demon when it comes to management, and considering how management heavy these new cars will be, I wouldn't worry about his otherwise borderline terrorism driving. And Bottas is great wheel to wheel despite his lack of defenses, and of course has more one-lap pace than Checo does. This also flows nicely with their ability to adapt to situations, since both drivers don't usually panic when rain starts to fall or strategy has to change suddenly. They keep their head calm and make the best with what they have. So to recap, these two really experienced drivers, while potentially lacking the pace they were once known for, still have the sauce when it comes to raceability and adaptability and strategy, which will be a big plus in getting Caddy all the points he could potentially grab this season and establishing a foundation for the future of the team. I see a nice A tier is fitting for my DILFs. The next team is of course Alpine, with their 2 drivers of Pierre Gasly and Franco Colapinto. Now we start talking about the teams who have 2 drivers with 2 completely different things about them. Let's begin with Gasly, and as we know by now, he's got the juice. Since 2017, Gasly has been praised for his fast one-lap pace. I mean, for crying out loud, he got a bunch of Q3s last season in that French delivery car. That's just too good, man. He's also known for his alright ability to race wheel to wheel, since it's nothing that'll blow your mind with sudden and extreme overtakes, but at least he's not crashing often with people. He really is the definition of solid, since yeah, he probably won't win titles, but he's solid regardless, and given the car, he could get more podiums and perhaps wins for the team. So he's good, but what about his teammate Colapinto? Now here is where we start walking on eggshells, since Colapinto is a new driver. He only joined in 2024, and that was for only 6 races before joining in 2025 after, ironically, the first 6 races. Colapinto in that time though has had his up and downs. On one hand, he has shown some daring driving that is often helping him, but on the other, he does have a crash here and there when he pushes it too far. That is all down to inexperience, and in time can be fixed, but also to me at least, he doesn't show much one-lap pace. It's not the worst in the world, but I do have to question if he could be good enough for Alpine next year, considering how last year he was only barely ahead of Gasly at times, while Gasly was always like 2+ tenths ahead of him. And when it comes to his ability to adapt in the race, I'm just gonna put James not applicable here, since last year he would start on a 1-stop and then Alpine decided to give him a 6-stop instead. So yeah, I don't know. To recap though, Gasly is very solid, while Colapinto is maybe lacking in the crucial skills he needs. C tier they go. Now we have the Audi boys with Nico Hülkenberg and Gabby Bortoleto. Regarding Nico, you could basically take everything I said about Checo and Valtteri and apply it to him. He really is just a blend of those two, since he has the experience, pace that is declining but still not bad, good raceability and adaptability. He's also not going to stay here for much longer since he's like 38, and Audi are certainly going to want a younger talent to assist Gabby in the future or exceed Gabby, which, speaking of, Gabriel Bortoleto only joined the grid last year, yet has already shown the makings of a future great. He has shown us that in spite of his inexperience sometimes, he has the ability to race well wheel to wheel and could also adapt to any given situation. But his strongest trait, in my opinion, is his one-lap pace, since this man knows how to put a lap together. There were times last season where he not only outqualified Nico, who is known for his one-lap pace mind you, but completely dusted him, and that will aid him massively in his career, I imagine. This season should be a total step up from the last, and I think his tendency to crash will also decrease as well. So to recap, Nico is a great mentor driver who, while declining in pace, still has the ability to race effectively. Gabby, on the other hand, while maybe still committing a needless mistake here and there, has already demonstrated the makings of a great with his decent raceability and mighty pace that will surely improve. This lineup goes into the B tier for me, but if both drivers were at their peak or like 20% better than they are now, this would be a high A to low S tier. Now for Haas, who I feel are really underrated. Esteban Ocon is one of the most disrespected drivers in history, in my opinion, since what more can he do? He has a great junior career to go off of. His Force India days were no slouch, since he was close to Checo often, for better or worse. When he came back to Renault, he did struggle in 2020, but after dusting off the rust, he became one of the strongest midfield drivers until 2024. He even got a win and some podiums. And yes, 2024 was abysmal, but do you ever stop to think that Alpine, who already forced Ocon out the team for very little, wouldn't give him the upgrades Pierre was running? Despite that, he still finished ahead of him in the Brazil race and was leading it for a while. I really feel like Ocon doesn't get the respect he deserves, since he is on Gasly's level, in my opinion, and if Gasly is a driver who deserves his place, so does Ocon. Yes, he didn't have the best 2025, but did you guys see his strategy? He should have become an OnlyFans model with how many times he got fucked by the team. I genuinely believe Ocon will have a significantly better 2026, and he will earn the respect he deserves from the fans. But someone who already has that respect is his teammate Ollie Behrman, and there really isn't a whole lot to discuss. Remember, only a rookie last year, but regardless, Behrman has shown glimpses of race brilliance. All I'm gonna say is, if you thought Mexico 2025 was impressive, just you wait, sunshine. Ollie has the one-lap pace already. Sure, maybe the race consistency setting laps can improve, but the pace is there. Now he needs to stabilize it. So, to recap, Ocon is a good driver with all the good makings of one who just needs this year to truly show his hand, which I believe will happen. And while Behrman is still young, he has the pace already. He just needs to improve the race consistency aspect and the ability to adapt quickly. This lineup will sit at the A tier for now, since I'm confident both drivers will absolutely pull their weight for the team. A team where I could not say the same, however, is of course Aston, who, let's just make this quick. Fernando Alonso is a two-time champion, and despite being 44 and noticeably declining when it comes to his awareness on track, he just still has it, man. He can still drive a car to perfection using his innate pace, experience, and consistency. What can I say? If he was just driving the car, the lineup would be A to S tier, but he has a teammate, and unfortunately, it is Lance Stroll. Stroll is a good-for-nothing twat who should really leave and never look back. He has pace in theory, especially in the wet, but the guy just goes and does some dumb shit to completely make the pace null and void. He can't race wheel to wheel. He adapts to situations as well as a polar bear can adapt to living in the desert. Fuck whatever experience he has since 2017. He still drives like a rookie. Nearly all of his points scored last year were due to some genuine luck, and it's bleak, man. Yes, he could put together a drive sometimes, but it's never often, let alone like 5 times per season. So to recap, Alonso good, Stroll bad. Unfortunately, this lineup goes into the C tier. Poor Fernando. Now for a real team again, we have Racing Bulls consisting of Liam Lawson and Arvid Lindblad. This one I feel can also go by quick considering how both drivers are like exactly the same. Where they differ the most is in experience, as despite last year being Liam's first full year of F1, he technically has experience dating back to 2023, not to mention his ventures in DTM and Super Formula, so he knows how to drive a car and what to expect from it. And while Liam does love a good bit of contact here and there, he is bloody fast in the car, and as long as he's in the groove, he will not crash. Arvid, however, we know next to nothing about, considering the lad hasn't even driven a race yet, but if we look at the junior series and the such, he is the exact same as Liam. He still has rapid pace in the car, more so than Liam I'd say. He adapts well to situations, he does love a bit of contact here and there, but also has a mean flow state. If both drivers can drive to their best version of themselves for the majority of next season, they are unstoppable. This This is leading me to giving these two a cool B tier, with experience being the only real concern for me. Moving on to our top 5 teams and starting with Williams. Oh yeah, Williams has an interesting lineup since their drivers ain't exactly generational or even close to being. What they do have though are two super solid drivers that work to great effect in the races and can get results when they matter and show themselves. Albon and Sainz are two drivers with good experience, more so Carlos since he's been here since 2015, unbelievable race consistency and ability to adapt well to any situation given to them, and of course, pace to pull a lap out of their ass and make the team proud. While both drivers in my eyes are no higher than an 8 out of 10, combined that's like a 16 out of 10, where other teams are like a 9+7 out of 10, which is only 15 out of 10. You get what I mean. Williams can be very blessed with their lineup, and they should absolutely pamper them for as long as they can, since they will not find a better lineup anytime soon unless like Max and Lewis join or something. So to recap, both drivers, while not perfect, are so solidly good that there's really no other choice but to give this lineup our first S tier, perfectly balanced as all things should be. Now for Ferrari, and boy oh boy where do I put these lot. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton in theory are the best lineup on the grid. Hello, we have a near if not generational driver in Charles who sacrifices his all for the team, and the GOAT of F1 Lewis Hamilton, the other car who needs zero introduction. This is the best lineup in terms of talent, so by a technicality, another S tier, but will that show? Because yes, you give them a good car that can win and they'll likely steal the title, but will the team actually allow that? 2025 was such a shit show of a season that you would think Charles and Lewis were just ass instead of being royally fucked by the team at every given opportunity. Both Charles and Lewis have the experience, have the race consistency, have the adaptability, have the pace, but you wouldn't know if you see the races. All you would see is the car breaking apart like a Lego, and of course, that isn't motivating at all, especially for Lewis, who can never get in his zone. Lewis, and perhaps this is a detriment, has a zone that he must be in if he is truly to show his all. He's a driver who runs on emotions and feelings, and if the mood is down, he will not perform. So if Ferrari can just have a good car, not even title winning, just a car that won't be the opposite of what an F1 car should be, then the drivers will cook. But will that happen? I do not know. So to recap, while Lewis does have a weird flow state thing going on that does affect his game, both Charles and Lewis are some of the best on the grid and just need the team to not betray them so they can perform. S tier lineup, but if this was a team ranking, Ferrari in the D tier. Now for the big 3 teams, starting with Red Bull, and let's wrap this up. Max is undeniably generational and top 5 if not top 3 of all time. You know he's good. The hard part is Hadjar though, who is only entering his second year of F1. His experience definitely needs to improve, since too often is he letting his temper affect his driving, and his ability to adapt definitely could improve as well, since last year when the conditions or circumstances changed, he kind of panicked for a bit. However, he also has some wicked wheel-to-wheel ability and race consistency, as well as some monster pace. As long as Hadjar can be leisurely in the top 6 or 7 and not crash, I'm sure he will get better and will soon be in the top 5 or 6 or 4 and 5, and so on and so forth. So to recap, Max is goated, we know this, and Hadjar, while sketchy, could maybe cook depending on how good he can drive that cursed car. So I'll put this lineup in the B tier for now, since Isaac is kind of weighing things down a bit. Maybe it's too low, but I don't know. I'm just being cautious given Red Bull's history of lineups in theory versus in practice. However, a lineup where despite the difference in experience I am confident in is Mercedes. George Russell, much like Max, needs no introduction. He has the experience, he has the consistency, the adaptability, the pace. He has the makings of a champion who now needs the machinery to truly give it a go. If you see anybody still denying Russell's game, just know they're either trolling or said the same thing about Max in 2021, and look how that turned out for him. Where the interesting part in this lineup resides, however, isn't Kimi Antonelli, since depending on who you ask, is either a baby goat or a demon child. Me personally, Kimi is past all the crashing bullshit. Where most drivers would have kept on sinking after Kimi's middle part of the season, he instead got up. Mercedes were there to aid him in picking himself back up, and Kimi now understands. He had his season to get his inexperience out. Now he can show what he has. In my time of paying attention to the junior formulas, which is about 2020 onwards, I have never seen a driver like Kimi Antonelli. He is simply too good. He has the wheel to wheel, he has the adaptability, he has the pace. All the mistakes last year were down to inexperience, or more notably, pressure that will not exist this season. or rather, he will not succumb to it as easily this year. Do not doubt Kimi Antonelli. To recap, George is a driver who has all the capabilities of becoming a champion, and Kimi, while not there yet, is improving fast, and soon you will understand why Mercedes voted to bring him in as fast as they did. A-tier lineup for now. And finally, the McLaren boys. We have evidence. When both drivers have good cars, they perform. Last year was enough indication for this S-tier placement, and I really don't want to talk more than I have to. Piastri is great, and while he could do with some better low grip performances, he is still good and perhaps now has the experience he needs in those conditions. Norris, meanwhile, is bloody fast and ruthless, but needs to actually learn how to overtake instead of relying on DRS so much. Like 70% of his overtakes last year could have happened so much sooner than they did if he just learned how to send it down the inside instead of waiting like 10 laps for DRS to finally work. Looking at you, Coda, but they both can drive really fast and put that car highly. If Williams had 2 8 out of 10s, McLaren has at lowest an 8 and 9 out of 10, or in my eyes, 2 9 out of 10s, leading to an 18 out of 10, or in other words, an S-tier lineup. So that was the ranking. I'm gonna go on a limb and say this is one of the best grids we have had in a very long while. Every driver, bar one, is deservingly here, and it makes me so excited for the racing next year. Better hope the cars pull their weight. Anyways, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the vlog for the continued support, and make sure to join in if you want cool benefits as well as just helping me out. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe since it really helps me out. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you think of this, and as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.